Listen Up with Jim Potts. Listen up, business owners, CFOs, human resource managers, and all managers and supervisors. Jim Potts is answering and addressing your questions and concerns, helping you stay out of court. Furthermore, please be advised that Jim's answers are not legal advice and are only intended as a guide based on his years of experience. The phone lines are open. 1-855-4-J-POTS. That's 1-855-457-6887. You can also email us at listenup@jameswilliampottsllc.com. Ready to listen up? Here is Jim Potts.
Jim Potts back on the air. Hello, everybody, and hopefully you had a great new year. At any rate, I got an email. It's an anonymous email, but I'm going to read it. Basically, it says, heard your prior podcast regarding sexual orientation and why is it not a protected class is what the person is asking me. This issue about sexual orientation, I've actually spoken on this a few times, and it's an issue that's just going to continue to go up. I mean, there's a lot of individuals out there that are leading the alternative lifestyle. So it's impacting, employers, but it's also impacting people in real life. I just need to clarify this though. And he said that why is it not a protected class? It depends where you are. This doesn't say, it's an anonymous email, doesn't say what state the person is. There's 21 states right now that have protection in this area. So whoever this is, it depends on what state you live in. California, as an example, sexual orientation, it is a protection. So if you're in California, it is a protected class. But I want you to understand on a federal level, it is not a federal protection. So depending on the state, it could be for you a protected class. On a federal level, however, it still isn't a protected class. Now, the EEOC, which is the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, has been addressing this issue. And they're trying to get the legislators on a federal level to actually give this as a protected class. Now, there was a case that the EEOC picked up on out of Florida called Barbara Burrows, Burrows, if anybody wants to look it up, versus the College of Central Florida. Now, basically, is what the EEO is saying is that sexual orientation discrimination is by definition discrimination because it's based on sex in violation of Title VII. Now, there is a category in Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. So if you look that up, you'll see there's a category called sex. There's another one called gender. As what you won't see is one saying sexual orientation, and I think that's what the EEOC has an issue with. They basically, for those of you who do not know, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission is the primary agency charged by Congress with interpreting and enforcing Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Now, this particular case that has come up addresses whether claims of sexual orientation discrimination are recognizable under or should come under Title VII as claims of sex discrimination. And that's an important issue because, again, sex discrimination, gender discrimination. Now, apparently, the district court in Florida held that the claim for this individual, Ms. Burrows, that her claim for gender stereotype discrimination failed because it constituted a claim for sexual orientation discrimination, and sexual orientation claims do not come under Title VII as a matter of law. Now, that's what the district court said in Florida. And again, the EEOC has an issue with that. Now, the EEOC's position is that this is an unduly restrictive interpretation of Title VII and is contrary to the understanding of an increasing number of courts, as well as the EEOC, that sexual orientation discrimination claims necessarily involve illegal sex stereotyping, illegal gender-based associational discrimination, and impermissible consideration of a plaintiff's sex, placing them, in their opinion, squarely within Title VII's prohibition against discrimination on the basis of sex. Now, because the Commission has a strong interest in the proper interpretation of the federal anti-discrimination employment laws, it's trying to respond to that particular court and trying to offer an opinion to that court that, in fact, the court's holding was wrong, and that Ms. Burrows' claim should have been properly brought under Title VII. Now, again, this is an issue that is not going to go away. Now, again, following up on the EEOC's logic, as to why this should be a federal protection as well. And that way we'll cover all of the states, and each individual state will no longer have to worry about the fact that it just fits within their parameters for their state guideline. But the EEOC is feeling that the sexual orientation discrimination is also inherently sex-based discrimination because sexual orientation cannot be understood without reference to an individual's sex, and then in conjunction with the sex of those to whom the individual is physically or emotionally attracted to. So that's their logic, and that's why they're saying it should come under sex. Now, the general counsel has also addressed the issue. And under the Burroughs case, and opining on the Burroughs case, an employer that discriminates against an employee based on sexual orientation necessarily discriminates based on sex in violation of Title VII. The district court's perfunctory rejection of Ms. Burroughs' claims for gender stereotyping, in his opinion, is just merely a repackaging of the claim for discrimination based on sexual orientation, which is not recognizable under Title VII or comes under Title VII. In his opinion, it was simply wrong. Therefore, as what the EEOC is saying is that they're urging the court to hold the claims of sexual orientation discrimination recognizable under Title VII. So look, basically is what we're talking about here is that there's a difference, as usual, there's a difference of opinion between the EEOC as well as the court in this particular case. Now look, to the person that sent this out there, these protections are coming. It may not be as quick as you would like them to come. The EEOC is fighting on behalf of people leading the alternative lifestyle, if you will, sexual orientation. And in fact, they're trying. Now, why Congress or the legislators have not actually passed the law and put it under Title VII, I have no idea. They're quiet on this. Some people might argue that it's political. We have a president that's in the office right now that appears to be very in tune to these types of issues. So why he has not pushed it harder, I have no idea. Arguably, people may say that the Republicans are the ones that are in control of the Senate and the House right now. But for the first 2 years, that wasn't the case of his administration. So I'm not entirely sure what the quagmire is on this. But I'll send a stronger message to employers. Whether or not it's a protection on a federal level, not a protection on a federal level, it really shouldn't matter. At this point, these are individuals that are leading a lifestyle that they choose to lead. And if they're choosing to lead this lifestyle, it should not really be a situation where an employer is forced to recognize this based upon the person's sexual orientation. We all have to be treated the same. Some states have already recognized it, so that's a good thing. For those states that haven't recognized it yet, then I will tell those employers that you need to wake up. This is an issue that is simply not going to go away. I think the last time I spoke on this, what this individual was talking about had to do with the restrooms and the bathrooms, and how Houston had passed an ordinance that about people in transition get to use their restrooms either in public or in a place of employment, and they were going to be fined. And the citizens of Houston did a referendum and turned it around. You know, when you stop to look at all of these different protections under the law, and you go back in time, these things take time. Everybody's views are a little bit different on areas like this. Some people are emotionally charged with this very sensitive area. For some people, it violates their religious beliefs. For some people, it violates their moral beliefs. And let me just tell you, Mr. or Mrs. Anonymous, I feel your pain. I think that a lot of us these days know someone or have a family member that is in fact leading the alternative lifestyle, as I call it. And then please don't start writing to me that that's not a proper terminology. I'm just doing the best I can with this in this very sensitive area. But I just want to send a message, because a lot of what I do is with employers. So I'd like to send out there to the employers that to please be a little bit more understanding in this area. because the laws are changing. Not to mention the fact that you might be in a state that already has this as a protection. You don't want to get caught up, as this company did, with a lawsuit, arguing over somebody's, sexual orientation, somebody's sexual preferences, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If we learn how to respect people for who they are, not what they are, we will probably get along a lot better, even in this country as a whole, quite frankly. So, let's just kind of keep that in mind. So, Mr. Anonymous or Ms. Anonymous, my heart goes out to you in terms of your situation, but let's just say that the laws are coming. It may be a slow change, but they are coming. So if this impacts you directly, hang in there, and better days, I'm sure, are ahead. All right, with that last comment, it's time to close out this segment, but let me remind you that you can also hear us on Facebook and Listen Up, and subscribe to us on iTunes. Just search for Listen Up with Jim Potts. And as a reminder, we take calls every third Friday, and we can be reached at 855-4J-POTS or 855-457-6887. Or you can email us at jameswilliampottsllc.com. And the time for those calls, by the way, are 9:45 to 10:45, generally speaking. I want to send another message out there. You can now find me on LinkedIn as well, under James William Potts, or you can find me on Twitter. Please follow me on that, or the LinkedIn one as well. All right, with that last comment, I'm done. This is Jim Potts. I will continue to fight the fight. Thanks for listening, and talk to you next time.
Thank you for being a part of Listen Up with Jim Potts. We take your calls every third Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for your questions and concerns. Call us at 1-855-4J-POTS. That's 1-855-4J-POTS. Again, that's every third Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time at 1-855-4J-POTS. Like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on iTunes, and link up with us on LinkedIn. You can also email us at listenup@jameswilliampottsllc.com. Until next time, make it a great week.